Hi.
Hi friends! Today I'm joined here with Deborah, who you might have watched before. Deborah is an expert in facial exercises, and today Deborah is kindly giving up her time to teach me and you how we can erase these frown lines without any kind of Botox or anything, just natural things we can do to erase those lines there. Deborah, over to you.
Good morning, everybody. Hope you're all well on this lovely sunny morning. Right, so as Katie said, I'm going to be helping you learn how to minimise those frown lines, and they're caused by muscles when we are concentrating or frowning or generally not feeling happy. They come in and they cause these what's called 11 lines, and then they end up staying there. So I'm going to be teaching you how to really soften those lines and in time erase them. So we're going to have 3 exercises today. The first exercise is going to be about softening that muscle, so making it a bit more like plasticine, Play-Doh, so that it's easier to manipulate and lift. So what I'm going to ask you to do is just take your thumb and your forefinger, put your thumb underneath your eyebrows and your fingers above your eyebrows, and squeeze down until you're getting hold of your muscles. So it's not about pinching the skin here. We're working at a really deep level and we're manipulating the muscle and the fascia to change its shape and put it back where it needs to be. So thumb underneath the eyebrow, you're going to bring your fingers down and you should be able to hold that muscle. And to work out whether you know that you're actually holding onto it properly, if you try and frown, you should feel that pull between your fingers. Can you feel that, Katie?
Yeah, and do you know what? It feels really nice.
Yeah.
Like this. It feels relieves tension.
It does relieve tension, you're absolutely right. So what we're going to do to start with is work on these 2 muscles here, and these are called the corrugator muscles. They're identical and they run from the inside of your eyebrow to the middle of your eyebrow. Then we're going to work on what's called our procerus muscle, and that tends to, when it shortens, create these lines across the nose here as well. It's like a fan-like muscle. So we're going to be working on those. So to start with, let's put our thumbs underneath our muscle, underneath our eyebrow, our fingers across the top, pinch down on that muscle, and then imagine starting to knead that muscle almost like a cat would knead a cushion. And what we're going to do, we're going to start on one side, just kneading that muscle, coming along over the bridge of the nose, kneading that muscle, and then over to the other eyebrow. And just to remember, this muscle runs from the inside of the eyebrow to the middle of the eyebrow. So we're only going to be manipulating and kneading those muscles up to the middle of the eyebrow and back again. And what we're doing, we're softening that muscle up, so it's going to be much easier to lengthen and lift it. So back we come again. Now, for those of you that have got really pronounced 11 lines, you might want to do this for, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes. But because we're on a live today, I'm going to shorten it right down. So we're going to stop.
Oh, that feels lovely.
It's nice and releasing, isn't it, Katie? It really is.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do now, we are going to hook our fingers together for our second exercise. We are going to pin one side of our eyebrow. When I say pin, just press down, not too hard, but enough that you can feel the pressure. And then we're going to take the other finger, and at the beginning of this eyebrow, we are going to imagine that we're cleaning the bone in a sort of upwards and outwards motion. And so we're going to start here, we're going to pin down the other finger, we're going to start at the edge of the eyebrow, and slowly but surely imagine that you're cleaning that bone along the eyebrow to the middle of the eyebrow, and then we stop. Then we come back to the beginning again. Imagine sinking into that muscle and then just cleaning the bone, lifting the eyebrow, and then we stop at the middle.
That feels amazing.
Does that feel all right, Katie?
I love it. Do you know what? If I had a headache, I'd want to do this.
That's a really nice thing to do. Now, as you're doing this, you might feel the odd lump or bump. I often have a little lump or bump here And what that is, that's actually muscle and fascia going into spasm or causing little nodules that are sticking to the bone that therefore cause that permanent frown. And if you can feel that as you're actually smoothing that eyebrow out, whilst keeping the pressure, give it a little wiggle over that lump, and slowly but surely it will loosen that lump out for you. So again, just keep pinning that muscle. And then we're almost coming up, I think, to about number 7 now. Let's do 3 more. Sink in, pin, and smooth that bone. Imagine that you're cleaning that bone in an upwards and outward motion. And let's just do a final one now on the eyebrow.
So we would do 10
10,
each
I would
side.
say 10 each side.
Yeah.
And then actually, if you look at my eyebrow there, can you see how
Oh,
that
it's
has lifted?
lifted.
Yeah, that has lifted, hasn't it?
It really has.
Yeah.
Wow. And I just feel... I
Yeah,
feel
lighter.
really lighter.
You do feel
Yeah.
lighter, absolutely, because you're basically putting those muscles back to where they should be. Do you want to do the other side?
Yeah, shall we...
Just
we
do 2 or 3. Yeah.
But when we do this, we'd be doing 10 each
10
side.
each side, absolutely. But remember, you go slowly, you sink in, and when
Yeah.
you feel that lump or bump, just
Yeah.
give it a little wiggle
Yeah.
because you're just dispersing that very tight muscle.
Love it.
So if we do 3 this side, so we're going to pin again on the eyebrow. We're going to hook at the beginning of the other eyebrow, and we are going to imagine again cleaning that bone. So we're going to lift and clean up to the middle of the eyebrow. We're going to engage, lift, and clean that bone. Again, I haven't got so many lumps and bumps on that side, so I'm not feeling the need to wiggle. But if you can feel a little lump or a bump, you just wiggle your way through it. And you do that 10 times.
Oh, amazing. I love that feeling.
It is a lovely
Maybe
feeling.
you're tingling.
Is it really? Well, it's very releasing. You know, we hold a
Yeah.
lot of tension, a lot of emotion actually in those muscles. So the second exercise I'm going to show you is about lifting this muscle now, because not only do these corrugator muscles push everything in, this muscle can push everything down. So you can end up looking quite grumpy, quite tense. So again, it's about pinning the muscle and releasing the muscle. So we're going to pin the muscle with one finger. We're going to take our other finger and imagine sinking into that muscle, and then we're going to just push up to the middle of the eyebrow, to the middle of the forehead. We're going to come to above the nose again. We're going to sink into the muscle, and we're going to just lift that muscle up to the middle of the forehead. Can you feel that stretch, Katie?
I can. Do we need to use like oil with this?
Well, what I was going to say to you is actually, if your skin is feeling fairly well moisturised, not really.
No.
If you've got dry skin, if your skin is feeling a bit sort of dehydrated, then yes, use a little bit of oil. But like I've said before, you don't need too much to the point where you're slipping and sliding on your skin.
You want a little bit of resistance, don't you?
You absolutely do. So you can see I've gone a bit red there. That's absolutely fine.
How
because
many of these would we do,
again,
Deborah?
10. I would do
Okay.
10. You're getting the blood flow
Yeah.
into that area, and that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
The one thing I would say as well with exercises around the eyes, sometimes you can do an exercise and think, I actually don't look any better. But
Yeah.
what's happened is the tissue takes a while to readjust as well. So although you've worked on your muscle, your tissue is almost catching up. And then you will look at yourself perhaps 2 or 3 hours later and think, that's made a real difference.
Well, I've got to say, Deborah, just slightly off topic here, talking about jawline.
Yes.
So some months ago, you taught us how to lift and create a more firmer jawline.
Yes, yeah.
And I've been doing those exercises since you taught us. And I've noticed from a side view such a strong difference. Like this little bit of turkey is really sinking back.
Yes.
And can I just say, if you want to learn how to lift a sagging jawline, comment jawline and we will send you that video because it is amazing. It's honestly what Deborah teaches genuinely works if we put the work in. Comment jawline if you want to see that video. But so Deborah, with this, how often do we need to do this to see a difference, and how long would it take for us to see a difference?
If you've got 11 lines issues, I would say probably 2 or 3 times a week. I think the danger with any kind of facial exercises or massage is you can overstress the tissue in your face. And people think, oh, I've got an 11 lines issue, I'm going to have to work on it every day.
Yeah.
No, you almost need a break in between those exercises to let your tissue relax, to regenerate itself, to get used to the fact that actually it's in a new place.
Right.
It's almost like muscle memory, and then you go back a couple of days later.
Essentially, what, 3 times a week?
I would say 3 times a week, absolutely is enough. And give yourself a break in between times.
Okay, for the recovery.
Yes, absolutely. So not 3 consecutive days.
And how long until we see results, would you say?
I would say it depends on how pronounced your 11 lines are. I had really pronounced 11 lines, actually.
You never know, Deborah. You don't have any.
Well, they're very, very faint now. You know, but for example, Katie, I've had a week of a lot of concentration, a lot of thinking over things the last few weeks. They had become more pronounced again. But again, I worked on them and they've settled down again.
Oh, do you know what, Deborah? You're so inspiring.
Oh, well.
And actually doing these exercises, since we've started working together on these lives, they're such a lovely thing to do for a little bit of time for yourself, aren't they?
I think
which is really nice.
You're so right. I think it's actually just building into your day that time for you. That time, it's a really lovely ritual. It's a way of actually looking after yourself in a really natural, caring way. And I think it does work. It definitely works.
The thing that I've done, which could help you at home, is when I've got my cleanser on, if the cleanser's quite slippy, because I use a cream or an oil-based cleanser, I do it before I remove the cleanser off my face, because it's got a little bit of slip.
Yes.
And it's almost like I feel like whilst I'm doing my exercises, I feel like the cleanser's doing its extra bit of work on my face. So
that's a really good idea, because it's multifunctional then, isn't it? You're not thinking, oh, I've got to do that as well. You can do it at the same time.
With that as well, just as we do with everything in life.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And what I was going to say is just the final exercise, and it's just a really lovely finish to working on your eyes. It's just taking that hard part of your hand here, putting it over your eyebrow, and then literally going along each part of your eyebrow and lifting, and again keeping your shoulders down, making sure that you're breathing. This is not about engaging with the skin, it's about engaging with the muscle. And just imagine you're putting those muscles back to where they're supposed to be, and so that you're lifting, you're releasing, you're just putting those muscles back to where they need to be. And it's a really nice way of just finishing the exercise off. And it lifts your eyebrows as well.
So if anyone is saving this video and watching it back to do with you when they do the facial exercises, could you do a quick run through of the routine? Just so if anyone wants to save this video, they can kind of like fast forward each morning to that bit and watch this bit where you just talk through the routine.
So you want me to do that now?
Yeah, just you don't have to do the exact number, but just say, right, do 3 minutes of this, 10 of those, just so that we've got it.
Absolutely.
For people.
Okay, so here we go. So we're going to start off by softening these muscles up. So we're actually moving from the middle of one eyebrow across the bridge of the nose to the other eyebrow. And we do that for about 2 minutes to soften those eyebrows and those muscles up. Once that's done, we're going to pin one side with a hooked finger, take the other hooked finger, start at the inside of that eyebrow, imagine cleaning the bone up and out really slowly, 10 times to the middle of that eyebrow. If you feel a little lump or bump, give it a nice wiggle to release that adhesion on the bone, and you do that either side 10 times. Then you actually pin the bridge of your nose, you take your other finger and you sink into the muscle and you just lengthen that muscle up to the middle of your forehead. And you repeat that exercise about 10 times. And then you take the hard part of your hand, you engage with the eyebrow, and then you push your palm up, right along your eyebrow, right to the edge of your hairline, right along the forehead, always remembering to breathe and to keep your shoulders down so you're not feeling any tension there. and then you just finish off on the middle of your forehead, right up to your hairline, and you're done.
Oh, Deborah, amazing.
Great.
I love it. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure, and lovely to see you all again.
We're so lucky that Deborah gives up her time to teach us her amazing facial exercises. They really do work. And if you want to discover how to lift the jawline, comment jawline, and we will send you that video, because that is, I mean, they're all brilliant, but just, I can't thank you enough.
Oh, I'm glad it's worked for you, Katie.
All right,
Thank you.
guys, we'll see you soon in another live.
Bye,
Have a lovely
bye.
day, everyone. Bye.